This video is a message to far-right, anti-immigration, and far-right nationalist viewers. If you want to understand why immigration happens, why people go from third world countries to economically developed countries, then watch this video till the end, like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel. It's a common misconception that immigrants hate the native population, which in the case of Europe, America, and Australia are white people. Let's unpack this myth and delve into the subject matter. Short answer is no, immigrants don't hate the white people. Long answer, this is a false propaganda by figures like Tommy Robinson and Douglas Murray. Most immigrants are there because their native countries are pushed into poverty, corruption, slavery, famines, and destabilization. One can ask, pushed by who? The answer is by the same countries and the governments where they are immigrating to. So, if you don't want people to immigrate, stop interfering with other countries. How do these developed countries push others to the point where people are forced to move out, leave their family and kids behind? Let's look into history and find reasons. The primary reason for immigration was colonization. Mid and underdeveloped European nations colonized Asian and African countries during Renaissance and Enlightenment. They sucked and fed on to trillions of dollars worth of natural resources from those countries like a parasite. When those nations had nothing left to feed their colonial masters, the colonizers left them unstable and unfit to compete in the industrial age. An example of this is India. When the East India Company arrived in Indian subcontinent, it was the richest country on the planet. Their GDP was 22% of the total GDP of the world. When Aurangzeb was the emperor, it was 24%. And when the British left in 1947, it was left at 4%. Consequently, people from those countries had to immigrate to their former colonizers. Another very important reason is wars inflicted by countries who are developed, and these happen to be the mostly countries where white supremacists live. Not just historical wars, but modern ones too. Take the example of recent wars. The US bombed Afghanistan and Iraq for mostly bogus reasons, like WMD. Those nations were destroyed severely, along with their economies. People had to move out to earn bread and went to US, UK, Germany, France, and others who bombed them. What do you think will happen once the Iran-Israel war ends? People will obviously have to move out to provide bread for their families. They can't starve. They'll go to countries where they won't fear bombings. And tell me, which countries would they be? Yes, you guessed it right. They will move to those countries who are bombing them. That is US or NATO if they join them. White nationalists, if you don't want to see that happen, please don't cheer for your government under clownish rhetoric like MAGA. Let people live in peace so you don't have to put up with them. Third main reason is honestly ridiculous. US and Western hegemony wants to impose their preferred governance on other countries when it's none of their business, frankly. They decide that a country like Afghanistan or Vietnam lacks democracy, so they put sanctions on them. They label Venezuela as an enemy for doing business with China. Yes, you heard it right. Then abduct President Maduro in broad daylight on live stream while they are simultaneously trading with China themselves. I'm honestly surprised that how does their gullible public swallow this thing. There are tens of examples where this global hegemony slaps sanctions on the countries, their economies collapse, and people have no option left but to move out for better living conditions. Lastly, is the kind of immigration which I named cannon fodder immigration. The background is that when Europe and America were developing during the industrial age, they needed workforce to run their factories and gain competitive advantage. These countries allowed mass immigration for almost 2 centuries. Once production shifted from manual labor to technology and they no longer needed that enormous workforce, the native population started maligning and hating immigration. In my opinion, these are the four foremost reasons for immigration. In almost all four, the culprits are the very countries whose populations whinge about the migration. So don't colonize, bomb, sanction, or isolate other countries in the first place. I invite all white nationalists to ponder this and stop your countries from inflicting more wars and ban on others. Let them run their countries democratically according to their wish. Not give them more freedom than you already have. Oh, and the last most important thing, the immigrants don't hate you. These are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. Subscribe to the channel, share the video if you agree with me, and like it. See you on the next video.